First of all, I'm Vishwas Mudagal, and I'm an author, and I'm an entrepreneur, and most importantly, I'm a dreamer, right? That's what I really am. I dream a lot. And today I'm going to talk about very unusual topic, basically, that you guys can all see. Congratulations, you failed. So I'm going to start with a very, very simple question, right? I'm going to ask you guys, has anybody in your life ever congratulated you because you failed? Anybody? I see some hands, very unusual. Maybe because it's really rare, you know, that people actually congratulate you for your failures, right? People are obsessed about success, and it's not because it's their mistake, because the society has told us that success is everything for us, right? We have been trained in everything we do, it's all about success for us, right? The only people who wish for your, you know, they feel happy or congratulate you are maybe your enemies or people who are jealous of you, and even they are not really bothered, you know, basically they just feel happy about you, right? And you feel things like that. But, so if you really look at the entire, you know, your lifetime, and you see that we've only celebrated success. And so my whole question here is, you know, is it justified? Is it justified that, you know, failures should never be celebrated, you know? They should never be really talked about, right? So before we even draw a conclusion whether, you know, we should really celebrate successes or should we really celebrate failures or not, what is overhyped or what is the right way of dealing with failures, let's look at a very, very simple story, right? I would like to discuss with you guys, and then we'll see upon what really happened with a couple of other people out there, and then we'll draw some conclusions out of it, right? Or even talk about it, basically. I want to tell you about my story, right? Because that's the most important thing I can do. I can definitely talk about myself, right? So the year was 2007, right? So me and a bunch of my friends, we got together, and then we started this company called jobbyhive.com. Okay, it's a very, very simple startup, internet startup. We had a simple agenda. It was people go there to see how it is to work in other companies, and it was a simple employer review site. And we were solving a problem in the market, and we were bang on target, right? We immediately had like lakhs of users. You know, back then we had like 1.5 lakh users, and then we were getting millions of hits, and the newspapers were writing about us, the media, the blogs were writing about us. So everything was going great. And in 2 years, by the time we hit 2009, we went bankrupt. I was like, man, what's going on here? Like, we were like all doing well, you know, we are really solving problems for everybody, and then here we are, really bankrupt. I'm just thinking that what happened here? So we had not taken salaries. You know, the team started losing morale by the time it was 2009, and we realized the only problem we had was we never focused on monetization. You know, we were so focused on getting traction and all the stuff like how the Americans in the West do, right? They have like huge tractions and they have zero revenue, but still they have amazing valuations, right? That's what happens there. So I'm sitting in 2009 thinking, what happened? I think I really wasted my time. You know, the entire, my friends, my peers and everybody like, you know, gone ahead of me, right? I was just thinking about it. In 2009, sitting bankrupt at home, seeing what to do next, and then a very important event happens in my life. I decided to get married, right? So the girl whom I loved back then, you know, her family had, you know how it is in India, you know, the time you are about 25 and you're like, you know, everybody is like, you know, get married kind of thing, right? So the same situation, but I mean, we were in love, and there was no way that, you know, I was going to let her go, and then we decided to get married. So first of all, I'm bankrupt. On top of it, I take more loan on top of it, and then I get married. So when I come back, you know, for my wedding and stuff like that, and then I'm sitting at home, even more bankrupt, thinking what to do next. what am I going to do now? I have no freaking clue on what I'm going to do, right? So I'm really hurt, I'm like really a broken soul there. I may have failure. What did I do right now? I'm just trying to think. And then I get a call. I get a call from my ex-colleague out of the blue. I had not spoken to him for years. And then he told me that he is going on a journey across India. I was like, okay, where are you going? He said, I don't know where I'm going. I'm just going to take my bike and I'm going to go across India. And I have quit my job for this. I was like, what the hell happened here? So I asked him, when are you coming back? So he said, I don't know. I'm going to maybe like a year or two. I'm just going to go off. I was amazed. I thought, this guy is a dude. I'm sitting here thinking I'm a failure. I've not done anything in the last 2 years, and this guy is just quitting like a plum job and just going across India. I wanted to do what that guy was doing, just quit everything and go. I was so fed up in my mind, just really fed up. But how do I tell my wife? It's just been a month, I've been married. I cannot go and tell them, I'm just going to go off. I would have been divorced, I think, right? So I'm just contemplating, what do I do? And then the very next week, this was an intense time in my life, things were happening. The next week, I get another call, and this time I get a call from a company from Canada. They told me that they want to hire me as their CEO. I thought it's a prank call. I was like, what? I was like, we want to hire you as CEO. I told them, so I don't think so you're getting the situation here. I just shut down my company. Can you just Google for my name? You see that the newspapers and the blogs and everybody write only when either you're doing well or you're shutting down companies. No other time they write about you. So people are writing about me already that time. So I told them, just go and check it out about me, right? I think that you guys mistaken. They said, no, we're not mistaken. The technology that you use to build your company, Ruby on Rails, apparently, that time, nobody had even built, large teams, large scalable teams that time in India. They said, you hire us 100 people and we're going to save $8 to $10 million a year. That's huge for us. So please come on board and, you can do it for us. Come on, do it for us. So the package was good and all that stuff, and I took up the job. Who wouldn't, right? So one day, I'm bankrupt. And the second day, I'm a CEO of a global MNC at the age of 27. Then I suddenly thinking, what happened here? Then I realized that there is no concept of failure in life. There is no concept of failure. Had I not taken the risk of starting my company, had I not taken, had I not experimented with whatever I wanted, I would never have gotten into this position where I could have become much more valuable for a global MNC. And believe me, you can start your own company and you can tag yourself as CEO. But if you have to be hired by some other company to be a professional CEO, it means a lot. At the age of 27, to do that, that means that you need to really have skills of somebody who has a professional experience of like 40 years, and only startups can help you get there in the early age, right? So that was one lesson learned. The lesson learned was basically there's no concept of failure, right? Everything is like an experiment basically that takes you to the next level. So I couldn't go on that journey that that I wanted to go, right? So, but this bizarre idea struck me that I need to write about somebody who is in my situation. And then the whole idea was like, it started giving me like sleepless nights, right? So I thought that, okay, I should write about somebody who's in my situation. So, I started writing about this book, right? So one of those days, my wife, she comes in and she sees that, I'm writing a story. And then she's like, okay, what's going on? What's going on? Right? So I told her that I'm coming up with a story, I'm writing a story. And she was like, what? she's amazed because she has never seen me write a story before. So she was so excited, you know, she wanted to read that story. So she looks at it. I had typed it out on a laptop. So she looks at it, she reads it and stuff like that, and she looks at me. This sucks. I was like, what? I said, this sucks. You are good at a lot of things in your life, but you're not a writer. You cannot write. So this is the thing, you know, if when you want reality, you always go to your wife or your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. So believe me or not, that day I stopped writing. I quit writing that day because my wife told that I suck at writing, basically. And 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, this whole, you know, it's calling me back to write, go back to the story, go back to the story. And then I started thinking, you know, as a person, I'm very, very, I introspect a lot, right? So I started thinking, why is it I'm getting hurt? And we'll get to this equation that I have on the board right now. So when I started introspecting, another incident came to my mind, okay? It was my sister-in-law's wedding. For the first time, I decided I should give a dance performance. Alright? And I practiced a little bit, and then I gave a dance performance, and after that performance, everybody came to me and told me, you are the worst dancer. You should promise us you will never do it again. Well, you know what I did? I laughed so much. I just laughed so much. Somebody tells me that I suck at dancing, I laugh. Somebody tells me I suck at writing, and I'm so hurt that my world comes to an end. Why is it? Because I love writing, right? That's the whole point. When you fail, you get hurt. Whenever you get hurt, you need to introspect. I introspected. I realized that I'm getting hurt because I love something. I had fallen in love with writing unknowingly. I didn't know it, I can write, but I had found that kind of pleasure in it. So that day I decided that I'm not going to write for anybody else. I'm going to write only for one person, that's for myself. Me as an author is going to entertain me as an audience, and that's it. So I stopped I didn't tell my wife, but I started writing that day. So this time I wrote for like 3 chapters, I wrote like 50 pages and stuff. So one of those days, she looked at me again, she's like, you are writing again? I told you not to waste your time. I was like, anyway, you have seen it now, why don't you read it? And then she reluctantly read the story that time. I had worked a lot on it, done a lot of changes. Mind you that, you know, I had corrected myself. When she had told me that I sucked, I really sucked. Something was wrong there, right? I changed, you know, I really worked on it. So she reads it this time, you know, she reads it like really fast. And then she looks at me and she's like, are you sure you wrote this? I was like, yeah, I mean, tell me already, you know, what is it? It's like, good or bad, right? And she told me, if you don't write the story, it's going to be an injustice to the world. She told me, you have to write the story, right? So that day, I really thought that, I got a little more serious. I said, okay, I'm going to write this. And then I started writing that, right? So it took me like, what happened here? So it took me 5 years to complete the book, 5 years. And you'll not believe that I was living in my own, you know, different world altogether. I was living with my characters. I wrote 14 versions of my story, and I rewrote. So you don't know how it is. Like the first year, second year, people are going to encourage you. Like, you know, he's writing a story, that's great. And then the third year, he's still writing it. And the fourth year, all the publishers have rejected him. Seriously. I sent the book. Once I started getting good feedback from my peers, I started sending it to the publishers. Every publisher in India almost rejected the book. Everybody. I was like, man, what's happening here, really? But then the same thing kept coming back to me because I'm writing for myself. That means every time they came back to me, like, the language is not great, your characters are not great, you are new to the industry, blah, 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 things like that, right? So every time I kept working on it until someday somebody, liked my story and they published it, and then it goes on to become an overnight bestseller, right? So I realized that why it happened, the whole thing, the entire episode, it was because failures come in a way to make us better, right? And it has happened for everybody, in the entire planet. Whoever has done something commendable in their lives has happened. Steve Jobs would have never invented iPhone if he was not been fired from his own company. Maybe he was a great guy, but he was not doing the right thing. Somebody had to come and fire him, right? And then he goes out, and then he keeps following his own, the passion, in spite of being fired. In his own words, he says that the only way why I stuck back was because it was my passion. I had to continue it, right? And then he gets better at it, and he comes back and he creates the iPhone, right? So what this teaches us is that if you follow your passion, the world will follow yours. So that is like the ultimate, the reality of it, if you really look at it, right? So if I had not written my book with so much of passion, and irrespective of anybody said whether it's good or bad or not, that was the whole game there, that it's all about following the passion. So while I want to emphasize on failures and the importance of failures, why it is much more important that we fail is because when you fail, that means you are at least doing something in your life. For people who don't fail, they're not even doing anything, they're not even experimenting anything, right? So people are afraid all the time, because from the time we are being born, we are being told that you need to get good marks in your school. After that, you're being told you need to go to good college. Once you go to good college, you've been told that you need to get good campus placement. Once you get a good campus placement, you're being told to get married. Once you get married, then people are going to be after you to have a kid. And then after one kid, they say one is not enough. You need to have two, right? And between all that, they're like, do you have a house? No, I don't have a house. Then you're useless. What have you done in your life, right? So then you take your home loan. These days below 1 crore, 1.5 crores, you're not going to get a house. You take that loan, all that stuff you do. You have EMI of 1 lakh, 1.5 lakhs a month. You think you can take risks after that? No. So what is the system telling us? The system has taught us to be zombies. It's a factory of zombies. We are just moving towards something. Somebody who took risks and who failed, who made the system. That guy set rules for everybody else to follow, and we are following it. It's against nature. We need to be shameless, and we need to change the rules around us. And we need to believe one thing, that we are born to do great things. If we believe that we are born to do great things, we will, right? So, coming back to the question right now, do you think we should celebrate failures? I think yes. Yes, we should, because failures are those moments in our lives when we are pushed to a level, to a place where the environment is ripe for disruption in our mind. When we think, what happened here? When you question your ideals, when you start questioning yourselves, you may have been really bad, you may have been terrible, but that moment, at that point in time, it hurts so much, right? It hurts. Those people are required for you to come and hurt you. That's what the reality is. Your boss has to fire you one day. Somebody has to tell you. Somebody had to tell Walt Disney that he lacks creativity. That's when Mickey Mouse comes out. That's when the genius of human mind comes out, when you hurt. That's what this is all about here. Bleed, get hurt, lose your religion. You need to get hurt. Very often people tell you, "ठीक है, don't bother about failures, don't feel bad, don't do this." I am telling you, feel bad, but action is what required. You need to act on it. That is what is required. Everybody fails, but people who act are reborn, and those are the people who change the world. So today, to end the talk, nobody is going to congratulate you when you fail next, but there's going to be one person who is going to congratulate you from now on. It's going to be you. You're going to tell yourself, "Congratulations, I have failed, but I'm going to act now. I'm going to figure out what happened, what went wrong. I'm going to look back into myself, connect the dots in my life, and I'm going to reborn. I'm going to be reborn like a phoenix, emerge much more stronger, and I'm going to change the world." Because you know why? You will change the world. That's why we are born here, to change the world in our own way, right? So let's seize the moment. That's what it's all about. Thank you so much.